What is up, everyone, and welcome back. The visual K gods have smiled upon the North American audience this year in 2019, and to continue smiling upon the North American audience, the VK gods giveth a Duran Gray US tour. Woohoo! I'm sure many of you Visual K fans, many of you Duran Gray fans in North America, in the United States, are very happy. I think this is utterly outstanding news, and I am so very excited for it. The US audience has been treated to several fantastic Japanese bands coming over this year. Baby Metal, Wagaki Band, The Gazette, the mighty Duran Gray, and several others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But there has been more of the Japanese rock and metal scene coming over to the US in 2019 than I can recall in recent memory. And I think that is a fantastic thing and a very good omen. It means that they are seeing success and there is more of an interest in coming over and touring in the United States and in Mexico. Looking at the Duran Gray This Way to Self-Destruction tour that was announced this morning, Monday, 12 August of 2019, as I shoot this, I'm really happy with how the tour has been set up. Looking at it, I can tell you right off the bat that it's very clear that Duran Gray are going to utilize buses. They're going to utilize road transportation through the dates as opposed to flying. And some of you might be looking at me going, why do you say that? So let's talk about that. You look at the very first date here, December 5th in Los Angeles at the Regent Theater, and December 6th in Sacramento at Ace of Spades, and then Denver on the 8th. That alone tells me that it's being done by road. Los Angeles and Sacramento are very close to each other. It's a couple hours worth of driving time. It's not that difficult. Denver is in the Midwest, takes a little bit more time to get there. You're probably not going to do that in a day. So they clearly give themselves roughly 2 days worth, day and a half to get from Sacramento to Denver. You see the very next date in Chicago on the 10th. Once again, it's giving them that space to get from Denver to Chicago. And you see a little bit of that fudge factor in there, that if something goes wrong factor in there, because it is December. It's December in Denver, it's December in Illinois, and there could possibly be snow on the ground. It wouldn't surprise me if there was at that time of the year in those climates. Then you see the 11th in Cleveland. Cleveland's not that far from Chicago, so it's an easy drive. It shouldn't be hard for them to make it. They give themselves a bit of a break going from Cleveland to New York. Even though that's certainly doable inside of a day, I think it's a good idea. New York's a big market. They're playing the Gramercy in New York City. That's going to give them a little bit of time to sightsee in New York, which is fantastic. I think any band that comes over to the States deserves a little bit of that. And it allows Keo a bit of time to rest his voice, recover a little bit from New York, or from Cleveland and the previous couple of days. Give him some time, rest his voice, get up into New York, and rush it. Then you can also tell that they're doing it by road because there's a 3-day gap in between shows from New York to Dallas. Why? Because New York is way up there on the East Coast, and Dallas is way down in the middle of the South. So they're going southwest. Now, I do kind of wish For the East Coast fans or some of the fans that are stuck in between New York and Texas, that they would have possibly worked in a date either going down the East Coast to, say, Atlanta, or possibly going down from New York into and playing in some place like Nashville or Memphis in Tennessee, and then making that run down to Dallas. Because you certainly can, and I certainly have done Dallas to Memphis in a day. And it's also possible to do Dallas to, or to do something like Nashville to Dallas in a day. So, or they could have worked it out a little differently. But it would have been nice to see them play another date at some point on the way. That said, New York's a really central location on the East Coast. You've got a lot of places, both in Canada and along the East Coast, that are going to have relatively easy access to New York City. Flights in there aren't too hard to get. Trains are easy to get. It's also easy to make that drive from the DC area. I would anticipate that people could even easily make that drive if they really felt like it from North Carolina, depending on when they wanted to make that drive, because it can be a pain to get up to New York City. As somebody who grew up and spent much of my adult life in the DC area, I can tell you just how much of a pain in the butt that stretch from North Carolina and from DC up to New York City can be. That's a good 7+ hours, depending on how much traffic you hit, and you're going to hit a bunch. But I still think it's going to be one of the easiest spots on the East Coast to get a hold of, to get to. And I'm sure many of you watching this video will try to catch them on the New York City date. Getting 2 dates in Texas, which I absolutely adore. I love it. I'm very happy for it. While I'd love to do both Dallas and Houston, I'm probably going to have to pass on the Dallas date personally. However, I absolutely will hit the Houston date. I cannot wait to see so many of you out there. Come say hi. Share a beverage of your choice, possibly before, hopefully after the show, possibly even a good cigar. Lord knows I will have some with me to share. And talk about the incredible show. They're gonna be at House of Blues, both in Dallas and Houston. I love that. On a personal note, I am so happy about that because I had a chance to see Coheed in Houston at that very same venue in February. So I get to see 2 amazing bands that I've become a fan of while doing this channel at the same location. Inside of a year. I am stoked. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to share that with you guys. Then, the very last date on that tour, December 19th in Mexico City, also makes a lot of sense to do it with 2 days. It only takes about 5 to 7 hours to get from Houston to the border, but then again, you do have to make that hike into Mexico City, and that's going to take time. So whoever put their tour manager and their logistics guys putting the tour together did a really good job of assembling this route. And it's one that I think is pretty well done, doing several dates, and it carves a good path across the country and down into Mexico. I love that they're probably going to be doing it by bus because it does give the band a chance to see such a vast expanse of the United States. If you haven't had the chance to travel across the United States via vehicle going from coast to coast, it's impressive. It really is. And you're going to see a lot of different things. And not only that, they get to go from coast to coast. Then they get to go all the way down to Texas and all the way through Texas into Mexico. The Dallas to Houston part, that's an easy drive. That's about 4.5 hours, depending on where you're going in the Houston area. So, they're probably going to be making that at night. Not a problem. Very, very easy to do. During the daytime, it can be a little bit more of a pain because the traffic in Dallas is nasty and the traffic in Houston is disgusting. And it gets worse all the time. But it also means they get to bring a little bit more gear with lesser expense. My guess is they're probably going to rent a good part of their back line when they get here in the U.S. They may travel with the drum kit. They will certainly travel with their preferred guitars and basses. They'll probably bring a couple of each. I don't know what the guitar player, so with Kuru and Dai and bassist Toshi's fly rigs are going to be, if they're going to actually want actual amps, or if they're going to go the easier and in some ways smarter touring route of something like a modeling amp like an Axe Effects or a Kemper, and just bringing their tone, if you will, on a thumb drive, and then just loading it into whatever Kemper or Axe Effects they happen to rent from a rental company here. I don't know if they bring the drum kit or not, or if they just decide to rent a kit for shitty to play. And I'm sure Keo will bring his preferred mics because, well, he's a singer and they've got the least amount of stuff to travel with. But it makes a lot of sense. They can travel with a bit more gear on buses without going crazy. They don't have to pay the expenses to fly place to place to place. The tour route is laid out really, really well. I like how much space they've built in between each date. And that they are doing a really good job of trying to hit a good part of the country, and the places that are in the mid part of the country, like Denver, like Chicago, places like New York on the East Coast, they're hubs. So if people want to make the expense to fly in to see them, it's easy to do. Same thing with, honestly, with all the dates, with Los Angeles, with Sacramento, with Cleveland, with Dallas and Houston. There's easily accessible airports and mass transit there. So, and they're in solid locations with hotels and accommodations and food around. So they're playing good places. They've mapped out the tour well, and I'm really excited to see them back on U.S. soil. It's the first time that I know they're here that I get a chance to see them personally, and I am incredibly excited. Really, really looking forward to this. It's going to be a heck of an early Christmas present for so many of us. People like myself who have not had a chance to see them before. People like so many of you that have not had a chance to see them before. And of course, for the old faithful, the diehards of you out there, you get a chance to see them again right before the holidays kick off, or in some cases right after the holidays for you guys kick off, depending on what your religion happens to be. Or if you're like me who just celebrates the holidays because it's more of a family thing as opposed to religious aspects. But you get to celebrate it. You get to see Duran Gray right before it all kicks off. You get a little bit of pre-holiday traveling in. And I am so happy. It also kind of is going to change the content timeline a little bit here. It's been a while since I've done Duran Gray full records. It's time to start doing that again. It certainly accelerates that, knowing that they're coming in December, and I want to get a couple more records under my belt before I go see them, because that midpoint of the catalog is not one that I've had a chance to dive into yet. So, what do you guys want to see? You know, there's all the early stuff up to DSS that I haven't had a chance to do yet. The only early Duran Gray record I've done is Gauze. So, do I do some more full records? do we speculate on track lists and see and kind of flesh that out a little bit? What do you guys want to see? Let me know. I cannot wait to get some more done in preparation for the This Way to Self-Destruction tour. Cannot wait to have a chance to see these guys on tour. I cannot wait to have a chance to spend time with so many of you. It's gonna be awesome. I look forward to it. Are you as excited as I am? Because I'm pretty excited here. Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. As far as pricing goes, that doesn't come out until tomorrow. I'll do an update video to let you know what I have to say about pricing. But overall, it looks like this tour is set up very well. And I really hope that this is a good omen for a good sign for more Japanese bands to start touring the United States and to make it profitable for them, to make it worthwhile to come over here, worthwhile to hopefully spend some time in Canada and more time in Mexico, but to hit North America and to want to come over here and to play for us. So hopefully we all scream our heads off like absolute maniacs, make them feel as welcome as they possibly can when they get over here, and they decide to come back more frequently and encourage others to do so. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching this one with me. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you to my law enforcement, military veterans, and first responders for what you do every single day. As always, you have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I cannot wait for this. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. Headbanging.